Minister of Transport, Chuck Strahl.
Well, thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here in Calgary. It's always a pleasure to be in Calgary, but here, especially during Canada Water Week, to talk to you about canoes, kayaks, other small vessels. Je suis heureux d'être ici avec vous à Calgary pendant la semaine canadienne de l'eau pour vous parler des canots, des kayaks et des petits bateaux. I know it's a little hard to imagine, a little easier today with the sun shining, but after the winter we've had, I know that spring will come, summer will be upon us before we know it, and I want to be here today to give a message that is for everyone looking forward to putting their canoe in the water this summer, and the message is this: just do it. Don't worry about the paperwork. There's been a lot of discussion on the web and in the news media about a requirement to register canoes and kayaks. This is kind of taken on a life of its own, and we want everyone that's planning or thinking about planning a canoe or a kayak outing this summer to relax, make your plans, and just enjoy the summer in the water without all the paperwork. As you know, a commercial vehicle or commercial vessels have always had to be registered in Canada. That's just the way it's always been. Vessels that were used for pleasure use have never had to be registered. But there's been a lot of confusion, and the legislation has been confusing and brought about a lot of uncertainty about from owners and users of kayaks, canoes, and other human-powered vessels about whether that registration applied to them. For example, the Girl Guides and Boy Scouts, do they have to register their vessels? When you have a camping association, do you have to register every one of your canoes? Somebody even suggested that maybe you had to calculate the tonnage of your canoe. I don't know what kind of canoe that would be, but anyway, it's been confusing. It's brought a lot of uncertainty to the future, and of course, the short answer is, do you have to do any of that registration? The answer is no. And it's important to note that the registration requirement, again, was never supposed to be directed toward pleasure use of a human-powered canoe, kayak, or boat, but frankly, it was easy to misinterpret that. And that's why we're clarifying it here today and making the changes necessary so you can go out and enjoy the water and know that you don't have to wrestle with the red tape. I want to thank, there's been lots of people been involved in this. Howie Grossenger from the Ontario Camping Association, I want to thank you for your efforts on this. Laureen Wray, of course, from the Alberta Camping Association as well. And many other organizations, Boy Scouts, Girl Guides, many other associations that have raised this concern with us. This, again, they made a very strong case for removing the current requirement for mandatory registration for canoes and kayaks. They told us the registration process, it was burdensome, it was complicated, it was open to misinterpretation, and we don't believe, frankly, that Canadian boaters should have to face onerous regulations to go canoeing and kayaking, which is why I'm happy to announce today, to make it formal, that effective immediately, vessels of human-powered, owners of human-powered vessels, small sailing vessels, and vessels with motors less than 10 horsepower will not be required to register their vessels. You will not be required to register them. This change doesn't affect commercial river rafting or government vessels, of course, but that they need to be required for their own safety reasons, or registered for their own safety reasons. But these vessels that are used for pleasure use, used in the camps and so on, they will not have to be registered. You will not have to do the paperwork. You won't have to take a picture of them. You won't have to estimate their tonnage. You'll just get to enjoy the water. Enjoy the water as you've always done. Abide by the safety regulations that everyone has, and know that we're hoping to make this simpler with you today. We simplified the registration process for those who wish to continue to register their vessels. There's some people that say they want to register their canoe, they want to be able to trace it somehow or whatever. And if they want to do that, we're going to simplify that so that there's a one-time or a flat fee of $50. It's good for 5 years. It's good for whatever number of canoes you might have. So if you want to do that, register that's voluntary. You can continue to do that. We'll make it simple for you. But this is going to relieve a lot of vessel owners from a lot of paperwork that was never should have been on their shoulders, and this will clarify it, I hope, today. So I've instructed my officials to review the registration requirements going forward, taking into consideration the comments that we've received to date from those of you who have written to us. Thank you for that. And then taking the time to work with stakeholders to make sure that we have a sensible, efficient, and a proper registration process for all Canadians that's simple to use and is only used when it's absolutely necessary. So the takeaway from this is registration for all human-powered vessels, such as canoes, kayaks, and so on, and all motorized vessels less than 10 horsepower is not required. The exceptions, again, as I mentioned earlier, are for those that the sort of commercial river rafting, for example, and government vessels, and so on, and for any vessels that may be designated because of safety reasons, and that's why we're working with the industry. We could designate something if it needs to be done for safety reasons. Of course, we're not going to compromise that. But just to assure people, just comply with the, with all the construction safety, the pollution prevention regulations, all the stuff that everyone does anyway under the Canada Shipping Act. We'll make sure if you do that. We'll make sure that we don't bother you with unnecessary red tape and a burdensome registration process. We're committed to supporting recreational activities like canoeing and kayaking. We want to encourage more of that, not less. So this is going to make life easier for you. And what it all comes down to in the end is we're not going to let red tape keep you tied to the dock this summer. So congratulations for those of you who have initiated this process with us. Thank you for your work. And this is going to make for a good summer of boating, kayaking, and the camping associations as well. Just go out there, have fun, and do what you've always done best. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to, if I could, invite Laureen Wray up, who is a representative from the Alberta Camping Association, to say a few words. Right?
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you to Minister Strahl and his office for inviting us here today. The Canadian camping impacts the lives of hundreds of thousands of children each summer and is as Canadian as the canoe itself. The Canadian Camping Association, Association des Camps du Canada, is a federation of 9 provincial camp associations representing over 700 children's summer camps across our country, including over 100 in Alberta alone. Summer camps in Canada deliver services to children of all abilities, ethnic origin, and financial capability. They include day and overnight experiences, municipal and religiously affiliated programs, as well as agency and privately owned camps. Accredited camps in each province dedicate themselves to high standards of operation in the areas of risk management, health and safety, and program delivery. These standards have been developed by provincial camp associations in conjunction with federal, provincial, and municipal governments and have made the safety record of Canadian camps the envy of the world. For generations, Canadians have learned to canoe and kayak at summer camp. The Canadian Shipping Act 2001 had the potential to seriously impact the ability of our members to provide the high-quality programs they are known worldwide for by unnecessarily over-regulating camp operators and burdening them with the red tape associated with the extensive registration process for their canoe and kayak fleets. We're grateful to the Minister and Transport Canada for listening and responding to the concerns of the camp industry. This announcement today will allow accredited summer camps in Canada to continue to concentrate on the issues that matter most to Canadian parents who send their children to summer camp: the skill development, the enhancement of self-esteem, community building, and appreciation of the outdoors. Thank you.